Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Jennifer McCollum from the Parent Teens Club, and I have today with me the amazing Kelly Biltz. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. I'm so happy you're here, Kelly. Kelly is the creator of Loving GrADDitude.
ADD.
ADHD. Yes. Oh, so GrADDitude is, let's spell it out. GrADDitude.
like the gratitude, ADD in the middle.
That is so fabulous. I can't wait to hear all about how you got started with Loving GrADDitude. Kelly is an ADHD coach. She works with teens, with parents of teens, with adults that have been newly diagnosed with ADHD, and she is so full of knowledge and help for all of us in that category. So Kelly, would you tell us a little bit about how you got started in this fabulous business of helping others, where it all started and where it is now?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. So our journey started probably about 5 or 6 years ago with our youngest son, Bryce. And all along in his early childhood years, we knew that we just weren't connecting as parents with him. And we knew that everything we were trying pretty much wasn't working. So after many years of frustration, and we finally had him diagnosed with ADHD, and I felt so relieved. A lot of moms may feel discouraged or something, but I felt relieved as a parent because I'm like, okay, I have a solution. I can figure this out, and we've got answers now. So I spent about 2 years researching and diving in. It felt like a part-time job, trying to change our language, change our parenting styles, advocating for him in the classroom. And then one day I was on my Twitter feed and I saw this ADHD life coach program, and I had no idea anyone or a resource like that was available. So I said to myself, oh my goodness, I'm basically doing this anyway, except I just don't have a client base. And I pursued it. And so I finished up my training actually this past May, and I've been in business with myself next month will be a whole year. It seems like it's been much longer. I know, woohoo. So it has been a great journey the past year, and I chose Loving GrADDitude as my company name, which I know is not the most normal, typical ADHD coaching business. But one of the tools that we used in our training were core values. And my strengths, and one of my core values was gratitude, because I am a very grateful person for most of everything in my life, actually. And it was interesting that it came out, and I said, well, I really want to figure out how to use that in my business name. So lo and behold, of course, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when our brains are, all of a sudden I woke up and I'm like, Loving GrADDitude, because I love ADHD. I love my son. It reminds me of him, and he's sort of my purpose. And so that's sort of how my business came about.
I absolutely love that. And I have to say that I found Kelly, I'm pretty sure it was on Instagram, and you do these videos from your front porch. And it is it's like each one of them, you're like just so grateful, and you're so kind, and just I just kind of fell in love with those videos. And then I said, I have to reach out to Kelly, because I know there are some people that are struggling with teens with ADHD, and struggling with like ADHD themselves and not even realizing it.
Absolutely.
And it is always shocking to me that, this kind of ADHD coaching, you did all the research, you found out all that information, and that it is a fairly new kind of industry to be in, but it is really filling a gap and a need in everywhere.
Absolutely. And I think I was so relieved because I wasn't alone.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to project in my business is we're not alone in this. There are a ton of resources, and ADHD has become so much more popular. And there's stats on my website about the 6.4 million who are diagnosed. Well, you think about that, and then there's also probably equal amounts that are not diagnosed in the older generation, the 50 and over, who have been living with it all their lives, right? And they've just been struggling with strategies and time management issues their whole life. But now it's this, we have a whole community based around ADHD, and it's great. And so I'm really excited to make an impact. And I think, having been there, and a lot of coaches do have ADHD, I don't, but I've lived with it. And my son, as I shared with you, has it, but my husband also has it. And some of the statistics are that 50% of the children with ADHD have a parent that has ADHD. So it is hereditary. And it's just a much needed field to be in.
Yeah,
I'd be on my front porch right now with you, but I'm afraid that there would be some noise out there from some landscapers, because our neighbors have landscapers coming in the afternoons on Monday. I have their whole schedule out because I spend every afternoon out there.
They better catch on when they need to quiet.
I know, right? When I'm out there, they need to stop all the lawnmowers, right?
Well, I know once we're done here, everyone's going to want to jump on to Instagram and watch those videos that you do from the front porch. But I want to backtrack a little bit to the statistics, because it really blew me away when I was looking at your website. And it said on your website that 6 million children ages 2 to 17 have ADHD. That is a lot of people. It's a lot of people. Like, that's just the children. And then there's another 10 million adults that have ADHD. And, and like you said, maybe twice as many that aren't diagnosed. So that's an incredible amount of people. Now, we had talked before we started recording a little bit about how you do your work as an ADHD coach. And I'd love to just go through that so parents kind of get a handle on what to expect if they were to call you and say, my teen has ADHD. What's the process? Can you walk us through it?
Absolutely. I'd love to. Yay.
Thank you.
So a lot of parents come to me in crisis mode when, especially at the beginning of the school year, and maybe even in March, when finals are coming up and the end of the school year is happening and grades aren't where they need to be. So I get a lot of parents in crisis mode, full disclosure, which is fine because we can do crisis mode. But the whole premise is, this is not a one-stop, like, quick fix. I'm not this, wave your magic wand and everything's going to be fine. It takes a lot of commitment, right? So the process is, and I love working with teens. And here's why. Because I give them a lot of different tools to help them understand and help them become more self-aware. That's the ultimate goal, right? We want less of the parents, more of the teens, which is why the parents come to me and say, I'm done talking, my kid's not listening to me. I know, because we're like this, right? Because we don't know any different. And this is not finger pointing at the parents or anything. So when you sign up with me, and I'll give you the Let's Chat link at the end of this, the first process is we have a phone connection or a Zoom call or a FaceTime call, and I review the coaching process. And coaching process is very different than counseling and therapy. Coaching is very client-oriented. The client sets the agenda. We figure out the goals and what have you, and it's very goal-setting, action-oriented, and just a sort of a very quick, not quick fix, but we get a lot accomplished, what I want to say. So when a client actually books with me for their teen, there's a couple different tools that I use, and they're fun tools. And there's 3 or 4 of them. And one is an ADHD life wheel, where it's basically a pie, right? With eight sections in them. And I have my client just decide life and what really isn't. And the ultimate goal is having a nice round circle, right? And they start off like this. Okay. So that's an ADHD life wheel. And the other few tools are a life skills assessment, which helps them actualize really where they are with their executive functioning. and how they interact daily with tasks and in school and responses. Another tool that I use is the core values, which is sort of near and dear to my heart. And it helps them figure out really who they are. They may already know, I know they know, they just probably haven't done something like this. And then I also give them an academic profile homework page for their, which is a tool that I am blessed to have from Leslie Joselle. She's an excellent academic coach. And that really helps them understand their after school needs for their time management, for their homework, and what atmosphere and environment they need. So we start off with, and then those are the 4 fun tools. And then we set, I have a form that they fill out, a fun form for really what they want to get out, what's working. If they have a magic wand, and they could make 3 things right in their lives, like what would that be? And where would they be in 3 months from now if things don't change, kind of thing. So there's a lot of front end for them to do. And then that, with those strategy sessions before we start, that's sort of our roadmap of really their ultimate goals of what they want to get accomplished from our coaching sessions. Mm-hmm. And we base everything on that. And it's fun. Like, I love working with them. And it's not just this teens you have to really create a relationship with, a trust level. And so some of my time spent with my clients are just getting to know them and finding out how well they're doing on their fantasy football league or their Fortnite or their social, if they're playing games. I have to relate to them. It's not just going to be peppering them with questions, because that won't work. So they have to, it's a very relational building, client-based relationship, really.
That is wonderful. I love how you said the roadmap. Like you give them all those tools and you create a roadmap for them, because it's hard to know like where you want to end up if you don't know kind of the process along. Another thing I
wanted to working.
Right. I wanted to comment about all the assessments that you do and the life wheel. I love doing those because it shows me that like I am not alone. There is somebody else out there that has these strengths and these weaknesses, and that it's not a bad thing. But if you want to work on your weaknesses, that you have to have a starting point. So I love doing those for myself. And I imagine an amazing tool for people that have never done it, to just go, oh, well, yeah, this is where I really am weak in, and let's figure out the roadmap to figure out how to get to where I want to be.
Yes, and there'll be times when I give the family the same life wheel, so everyone can understand. And there's also another great, I haven't used it too much with my teens. I use it more for my adults, called the VIA strength. That's what I also found the tool that we use in our training. And that is we did that as a family. And that's really, really cool, because you always play to one another's strengths, right? Critical. So we, as a family, we all did this. And of course, my husband and our youngest son is like exactly alike. And our oldest son and me, we're exactly alike. But when you do that as a family, you can really see how in a certain situation it's not going to set up well for one, or it's going to set up great for another. And then we just play to that. Okay, you're better at that, you want to handle that, or who's doing this, who's on first, who's on second. And it really works. So when I have teens, and then we expand into, sometimes I also coach with the families as well, because if you ask a teen to be accountable for something, but they need their parents' help around the house, I have to bring the parent into it, right into the conversation and the coaching. So that's a great exercise as well, that I probably should use a little bit more with the teens, but that life skill assessment is similar. The VIA is more for the adults and for families who want to do it. But it's great. And it's the whole point, Jennifer, is really to help the clients really become so self-aware in who they are, where they want to be, what their strengths are, what their lesser strengths are. The great thing about the VIA, it's like it just says lesser strengths,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have like 3 or 4 lesser strengths down here, but they're all strengths, right? So it's really the ultimate goal is for my teens to self-advocate, self-aware, more control. And maybe I'm getting ahead of our conversation here, but that's ultimately what my goal is for them, to walk away from coaching saying, okay, I've got this. When I'm not with Kelly anymore in a year from now, I'm going to be able to understand what I need in the situation, and I'm going to be able to handle that obstacle or handle that roadblock. So
Mm-hmm. No, I think that was all very relevant. And I think too that the more information we have about each other in a family, the better, because as a parent of 4, I have expectations, and I think, well, every child should be able to do whatever it is, that we're talking about. And that's not the case, because we all do have our individual strengths and lesser strengths.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love the lesser strength, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been situations in my family where I just know it won't set up well for 1 or 2 of my sons. And
Hmm.
so we improvise. I mean, not that you get them out of life skills or anything, but there are just some things where it's really important just to show and honor your child exactly where they are, and either front load them and help them get into that situation, or give them an escape plan,
Hmm.
or just wait until they are more developmentally able to handle that situation,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So a lot of what I help parents with is, really honoring your child. Where are they? What are your expectations versus really where are they versus where you think they should be, right? And there's sometimes a very big disconnect. I call it parallel lines. You want to be more here, and sometimes it's here.
Absolutely. We think, yes, our kids should be here, and they're not
Right.
always. And so thank you for telling us about that. You were going to say something, Knox. I cut
I
you
was
off.
gonna say, so no, that's okay. You just brought up something. So one of the main points that I always bring awareness to our parents is the ADHD child is 3 to 4 years behind developmentally.
Hmm.
And when they hear that, or when you first hear that, you're like, oh, oh, that makes that puts it all in perspective.
Hmm. Yeah,
So however you said what you said, it prompted me to think that.
definitely does.
That's a
Perspective.
little ADHD fact for you today.
That is wonderful. Now, I know parents are probably wondering how to access you, so I want to talk about the ways that they can contact you. You do your coaching over the phone, Skype, Zoom,
All the above. And it's
in
based
person?
on whatever the client wants. So I
Mhm.
have on my website, lovinggratitude.com, there is a work with me tab, and you can schedule on the right hand side a let's chat. And it's a 30-minute free session. And when you sign up to get my calendar, you can either Zoom it, sign up for the Zoom link, or you can sign up for a regular audio voice call. So it's either FaceTime, Zoom, or it's a phone conversation. And
And
it's
that's
whatever the client would prefer.
and that is wonderful. So you offer a 30-minute free consultation to begin with, to see where everyone's at.
Right,
That is so
right.
wonderful.
And
Very
that's their only time to ask me questions, because after that, it's all about them.
right. Right. Well, that's good. So get your questions all ready, and then
Exactly.
give Kelly a
Yeah.
call.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
I always and because we want our parents to be able to go away with something that they can use today. If they have a teen with ADHD, can you leave us today with one action step or one thing that we should be thinking about that will just
Yes.
help? I don't know. What was the word I was looking for?
There's
Help.
so many, right? There's so many. So I would just encourage, and I know it's super hard because I'm right there with you, and I'm a coach, and there are times when I sit there and I have to coach myself through something because we're human, right? And this is a, I'm doing this training right now with the Sanity School to be a certified trainer, and I love it because it's so many things I love about it, but it's a marathon, okay, with our children. Like I said, there's not a magic wand. I could come in and, you know, it's what works for your family, right? So it's a marathon view. These habits haven't formed overnight. It's going to take months, maybe years, hopefully not years, to get your child to be where they want to be. So I would say teens, teen moms, it's really important that you start including your child in the decision making. Okay. And the 6th grade through the 12th grade, it really starts being less of us and more of our children. And by doing that, you have to get your kids buy-in on helping them figure out the solutions. Okay. And I might say, well, he needs to do that, he needs to do that. And I've been completely wrong with our children. Okay. So including them in the conversation will help them be accountable, right? Will help them understand the consequences. And then you can have a reference. Well, remember, you said that you wanted to do X, Y, and Z. What got in the way, right? So it's holding them, it's giving them a buy-in, it's holding them accountable, and it's giving them the self-control and the self-awareness. Less of us, more of them. And a lot of my videos, I do talk about that as well. And that's hard. And that's not a skill as parents that we're going to get like overnight. It's not. But our children are sometimes held captive to our own beliefs and our own thoughts on how to do things. Well, there's 1,000 different ways of doing something. So we have to maybe step back and allow them to handle something, even though the end result always gets done. It just may not get done in the time or the way that you and I would want to do that. So that's what I mean, there's so many things I could talk about, but the ultimate goal for what I want and what I want for my clients is to be able, especially my teen clients, is to be able to self-advocate and voice out what they need.
So less of us,
more of them.
And you're right. Like, it is hard because for years and years when they were younger, we told them, we're always like, oh, I have to teach them this. I have to tell them this. And now they need us less and more of the decision making on them.
Right. And I would say, don't be intimidated by that, because the more that you allow them that freedom, the more they're going to trust you. The more that they're going to be, okay, my mom is expecting me to handle this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm not going to let her down. And they'll have that freedom to move about, and it's great. Mm-hmm. And the dynamics of your relationship will change if we get outside of ourselves, if we just stop and let ourselves go and just let the things happen. It's okay. Like, your kids are going to be fine.
I think we should have a whole conversation around just that point. Like, that was one amazing tip, but it can be life-changing. I've seen it. Maybe in other families. It's going to happen in this family. It is. I'm going to make that happen.
I still struggle with it. And then, and the good thing is, this isn't nobody's perfect in this, right? You don't ever want to create that perfect environment in your home where everything has to be such a way and this and that. No. It is just, the more mistakes you make, the more you can learn from them, the more that we can help one another, and the more mistakes I make as a mom, it'll allow that platform for my children to see that, okay, mom just really, really messed up. She owned it, and it's okay if I mess up too. And you learn through it and you grow it. I always say, if you're not growing, you're not learning, right? So.
Okay, every parent needs to hear this video. Thank you so much, Kelly,
for thank you for having me.
Sharing that. I think I just wrote on myself here. Thank you for sharing.
I don't see it.
No, it's pen mark. Okay, I am going to go back and listen to this over and over and over again. I am going to get it, but I love that you are there as an ADHD life coach for others. So if you want to find Kelly, because she's awesome, follow her on Instagram and watch her front porch videos. They're great and fabulous. Find her at Loving. Yes. Find her at Loving GrADDitude.com. She is also on our parentteens.club website. And then definitely access her calendar so that you can get 30 minutes free with Kelly and just find out what the next steps can be, because everything that you told us today, I feel can help each one of our kids. So, and I know there's 6 million other children, 10 million other adults.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, I better let you go. You are probably booked right back to back, because there is so much need. And thank you for filling that need and just coming to us today and telling us about yourself. And I hope everyone reaches out to you and takes those assessments and figures out their own roadmap. So thank you, Kelly. I hope you come back
Oh, it's been an
anytime.
honor. Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.